Hi there, welcome to a buzzing Box Park here in Croydon. We have a mega fight night coming away on Saturday night, live from Selhurst Park. Billam-Smith puts his WBO belt on the line as he takes on old foe Riakporhe. It is going to be quite the night, and we have a stacked undercard as well to look forward to. That's on Saturday night, but as you might have seen today, there is some other news coming your way as well. Another big fight night, 3rd of August, Callum Simpson against Chell, Andy.
Yes, it's been rumoured for a while. We knew that it was going to happen at some point because the British Boxing Board of Control put it together, but I think it's taken a little bit of fine-tuning behind the scenes because Chelly's a champion, but Team Simpson and I think Boxer really wanted it in Barnsley. That was the vibe we got, and if you're Chelly, you're not going to give that away because you're the champ. You know, you need to get sufficiently remunerated to take it to somebody else's backyard, but I'm really looking forward to it because Chelly is the kind of fighter who, if you don't have the measure of him, if you don't have a real plan as to exactly how it is you're going to take him on, then he can make you look bad and he can beat you. There's a lot of noise and a lot of hype around Simpson, and he's delivered on it to this point, but he hasn't been in as deep as Chelly. He hasn't boxed at that kind of level yet. Now, they believe that he can tick those boxes.
The intrigue, isn't it? That's the fascination.
Exactly. It's the standard thing, isn't it? Basically, can he make that leap up or not? And somebody like Chelly, he will make sure that if you haven't prepared absolutely right, or there's just a little bit missing, then he'll find.
Yeah, and I think Simpson will never have fought anyone with the intensity of Chelly. You know, he really brings it, doesn't he? He believes in himself. He doesn't leave a scrap of ounce of energy or anything in there. He lays it all on the line. And, you know, Simpson won't have faced anything like that before. That's not to say he can't deal with it, but we just haven't seen him yet.
And Johnny, your neck of the woods, just down the road in Barnsley.
Yeah, just down the road it is. I think next week I think we're doing some kind of press call for it, and it'll just be an indication of how packed out this fight is going to be. Callum Simpson, he's like a local star around there. They love him, and there's been so much expectation on him from turning professional. When Boxer first signed him up, I thought that's a great signing because this kid can fight. But Chell will test his heart, test how good he really is. And if he's not got that gut check, there's no point in being a good boxer if you've not got a good gut check. And I think this is one of those fights which is so exciting, and it's perfect for Yorks as well.
So that's the 3rd of August. That's a fight coming away. Let's get stuck into Saturday night. A massive, massive night for Billam-Smith and Riakporhe. 5 years since they last fought. Riakporhe got the edge in that one. 5 years, it's a long time, isn't it? Who's improved more, do you think, in that time, Andy?
It's a really good question, that, and you could go back and forth with it. It's very difficult to answer because you look at the journeys they've been on. Chris is the world champion, so he's had a bigger test. He's more proven of the two. Richard hasn't been able to get to that level just yet, so he's in a position where he needs to take that step up and prove that he belongs where Billam-Smith has proved that he belongs. So Billam-Smith has achieved more, but they both improved a lot. Riakporhe will take confidence from the fact that he won the first fight, as he should. Billam-Smith will write it off as being meaningless now, and I think that's fair enough because it was a long time ago. I love it. I love this fight. I've loved it from the moment that it was mooted because there's just so many ingredients to it and just things that we don't know. There's plenty of things we don't know about Riakporhe compared to what we know about Billam-Smith.
What Chris has had is he's had the activity, isn't he? He's got the momentum behind him for Riakporhe. He perhaps hasn't been as active as he'd like to be. We last saw him last November against Billam-Smith as well. Is that a concern for you, do you think, for Riakporhe, the fact that he hasn't been perhaps as active as Chris has?
Look, activity matters. We've seen it in recent times. You know, Joseph Parker staying busy, AJ stays busy, and the performances are there because of it. With activity and hard fights and seasoning that comes with that, the negative is there's miles on the clock. Yep. You could be. He's more shop worn of the two. Is he? And it's that sort of middle sweet spot in the middle where you battle hard but you're not shop worn. Which is he? Don't know. That's my answer. I think Riakporhe has made improvements, and okay, hasn't been in as significant meaningful fights for the big titles, what Billam-Smith has. But in the performances we have seen of him, I've definitely thought he's improved a lot. Patience, self-belief, shot selection, punch placement, everything really. So, and even when you hear him talking, he's kind of grown into his self-belief. So I actually probably would say that Riakporhe is the favourite in this fight. I don't know if he's the bookie's favourite, but I would favour him to win.
What do you think, Johnny? I mean, the gloves are off. I thought was a really, really fascinating watch. It was slightly different to any of the gloves are off that we've seen. How did you feel the two were?
I think on an official level, Richard has the opportunity to be smug. So I've done it once, I've proved it, and I'll do it again. If he believes it's going to be that easy in private, I really don't think so. And it depends on how much of an honest pro he's been with his inactivity. And I gather he lives in the gym, I get that. For Chris Billam-Smith, he was the one that was more serious, no nonsense, because that's the only guy that's in front of him that on an official level is beating him. So he knows for a fact, you know what, he's done it once, but he doesn't realise how much I've grown up. That's why this fight is so intriguing, because he proved he can go to to deep waters, whereas Richard hasn't.
I thought it was really fascinating. We'll talk way more about this. The comment that Richard made about Chris saying that word on the street that he's on the decline, but it was Chris's comeback that I thought was the really interesting part, when he basically said, I think you've just made it an easier fight than I thought it was going to be.
I understand why Richard said it. I totally understand why. And fighters that see when fighters in the ring and the shots they take, I understand why Richard said it. But this might not be the time where Chris is going to pay back those hard shots and take him throughout his career. So if he's heading on to football on Saturday night, that time's getting out, then he's made a bad mistake. Just understand that Chris takes a lot of hard, solid shots. So the fight him down that way. He may be on the decline, but he's on the decline enough to reach him now.
What did you make of that comment, Andy? I mean, do you think Chris is on the decline? Did you agree with Richard, or is that just some sort of psychological warfare that he's using to try and get in Chris's head?
I found that whole thing quite interesting, because if I was Riakporhe, I don't think I would go down that route. Number one, because if I win, I want my win to look as good as possible. I don't want it to be against somebody who you feel is on the decline. And also, if you really think that, then surely you just praise Billam-Smith's chin to the rafters, don't you? You just say, well, I've got big power, I think I can hurt you, but maybe I can't. You might have the best chin the world has ever known if you feel like he's going to fight with his face. Yeah, but the flip side to that is, I don't really understand to an extent where it's come from. He has taken some shots against Okolie and Masternak, but that's at world level. You're going to get caught more at world level. And Shane McGuigan's not a guy who teaches people to fight with their face. It's just not something that he does. So I understand why Billam-Smith's a bit taken by surprise by it.
Also the comment as well that Chris said about he feels that Richard's lost some of that rawness, because when he started out he was incredibly raw, wasn't he? Is that a positive or a negative?
What we've seen it with in fighters like Anthony Joshua, he was rugged. He had that rough edge about him initially. And that's when his fights were exciting. That's when he had quick fire knockout. Then he got more refined. He was on point. He was doing it correctly. So when he started to do it correctly, then he started to get picked off. He started to see the holes. He had to learn on the job. Richard needs to revert back and get some ruggedness about him. Let both hands go. Be unorthodox. Create an uneven timing in this fight, because if he becomes predictable trying to do it right, it makes it easier for him to read. Then he makes it easier for Chris Billam-Smith's style to take advantage of it.
In terms of the occasion and the event being at Selhurst Park, I mean, there's a little bit of to and fro in this week about the home dressing room. Obviously, Chris Billam-Smith is in his contract. He's a champion. He gets the home dressing room. But why not? Why not have that little bit of back and forth with Richard and try and get one up on him?
Oh no, I love all of that. I think in a big fight where you've got to have a row about something, whether it's the gloves or whether it's the size
so
of the ring,
but we love it.
Yeah, or the canvas or something. You've got to find something to have a bit of a Barney about. But yeah, if I was Billam-Smith, I'd be the same. I'd be, listen, I'm the champion, I'm on the left-hand side, I get the home dressing room.
It's fair play though, right?
Sellers Park, hasn't it? So you think, I'll come to your backyard, I'm at least going to have the better dressing room.
But is that something, do you think, that would affect Richard?
I don't think it'll affect either of them. You know, they're going to be focused on each other. No, I don't think so.
Okay, right. We're going to talk plenty more about that fight in just a moment. But the Undercard press conference is just about ready to get underway. So let's hand you to Big Mo for the introductions.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to those of you that have joined us here today, and welcome to our members of the media, and welcome to our viewers that have joined us on Sky Sports, and welcome back to our fight week that we have been hosted here at Box Park Croydon ahead of the rematch this Saturday live on Sky Sports and NBC's Peacock. Over 150 territories will be watching the rematch between Billam-Smith and Richard Riakporhe, this time for the WBO Cruiserweight Championship of the world. It's not just a boxer fight week. It's not just a Sky Sports fight week. It's not just a WBO fight week. It's also a Crystal Palace fight week, as Selhurst Park is celebrating 100 years by bringing a world championship to that historic venue. Today is the official press conference, and we're going to begin with the undercard portion of our press conference. I'd first like to welcome the host of the press conference from Sky Sports, Mr. Andy Scott, and the CEO and founder of Boxer and the promoter of this event, Mr. Ben Shalom. They're joined by quite a cast of superstars on stage. I'm going to move around as I introduce those. First, coming here to the edge, she is undefeated. She's an up-and-coming young superstar from Sevenoaks, Kent, England. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Francesca Hennessy. On the opposite end of the table, welcome back after a classic fight earlier this year against Joshua Buatsi. He returns to the ring. Please welcome the British, Commonwealth, and European former champion, Super Dan Aziz. Now, this next matchup could get a little feisty, a clash of personalities for the IBF International Championship. First, this man is undefeated with 12 wins, 10 undefeated, the viral sensation, the Olympic silver medalist, the drunken master, the surgeon, the Ben Whitaker. And finally, for this undercard press conference, a great matchup for the Commonwealth and European Cruiserweight Championships. First, fighting out of Champs Camp in Manchester, I want to welcome the former IBF European and IBO World Cruiserweight Champion, Jack One Smack Massey. And his opponent from Brixton, the former British, Commonwealth, and IBF International Cruiserweight Champion, Isaac I.C. Chamberlain. Andy Scott, Ben Shalom, the floor is yours.
Big Mo, thanks very much, and welcome everybody. Thank you for giving up your time to come down here today to Box Park, Croydon, just a stone throw away from Selhurst Park. As Big Mo said, 100 years of Selhurst Park, and what a card to grace that setting for this brilliant fight night. Ben Shalom, we'll get to the fighters very, very quickly, but everybody's been talking about this main event, and quite rightly, but there's so much talent on this undercard. You must be delighted to get these quality fights over the line.
Yeah, it's a huge show, a huge spectacle. Thanks to all the media, huge media turnout, but there's not often you get to put on stadium shows. There's not often you get to put on main events, but an undercard like this as well. For me, the top 4 cruiserweight in the country going together in 50-50 fights. The fastest growing rising star in British boxing. It's great to see Fran Hennessy put her name in the mix as well, and Dan Aziz back after his fight against Buatsi. It's got everything. Doors open from 4:30. It's looking like a huge, huge turnout on Saturday night, and really it's a celebration of British boxing, and that's what Saturday night's about.
Yeah, I should just say that you're trying to create a bit more of an event feel, so we've got a Kiss FM takeover, there's a fan zone where we've got some of the Boxer stable coming down to meet the fans, also the Euros are going to be televised, and also some big name live performers up your sleeve as well, which I think are going to be revealed in good time. Talking of big performers, Francesca Hennessy, great to see you up here at the top table. Fight number 4, progressing nicely. What do you want to show us on Saturday night, and just how excited are you to be on the big platform again?
Oh, do you know, I'm really, really excited. You know, it's my first stadium fight, and I've been really working on things since my last fight. I've been working on putting the pressure on my opponents to make them feel like they're in quicksand, you know. So I'm really, really working on things, and I'm really excited and happy to be on this massive card.
How much do you think is still to come? I know Bradley Skeet, your dad, Mick, good to see you here as well, Mick, got high hopes for you, and they say you're a quick learner. So, under the bright lights on Saturday, what do you think that you can show us that you have gone away and worked on since you fall in February against Laura Valdebenito?
Oh, I've been working on all the things I needed to perfect. So just as I said, more of the pressure, also the back foot. You can never be 100% at everything. You can always learn. So I'm just going in there, and I'm going in to put on a show, for all these supporters who are coming to spend their hard-earned money to watch us all fight. And I believe they deserve a very exciting performance, and that's what I'm going in there to give.
I think everybody's going to give the same answer, but there's some big egos and some big names on this card. But how rewarding would it be at the end of the night that people are talking about Francesca Hennessy? Is that your aim to make sure everybody's talking about you when the show's all said and done?
Yeah, look, definitely. I believe people will be talking about me after this fight. Every fight, you want people talking about you and talking about your performance, how exciting it was, and knowing that you've entertained people. That's the most important thing as well, I think. So, I'm really excited to put on a show.
Francesca, wish you all the best. Just a quick word on Francesca, Ben. I think when Mick came to everybody, came to Sky, came to you at Boxer and said, look, she needs the big stage. I think we've heard fathers and we've heard trainers say, I've got this great prospect, and it doesn't always come true, but so far so good from Francesca. She has lived up to billing.
Yeah, I mean, she brings something different. We've done a lot in women's boxing. Savannah Marshall, Natasha Jonas, Lauren Price, all world champions, all had great journeys. Carrie Sartingstall as well. The difference with Fran, they're all Olympians. They're all girls with great amateur careers. Mick felt Fran has to turn over early. She's got that professional style. She brings something that you don't really see in women's boxing. And I think her name is going to be right in that mix with those big stars. But as I say, I don't believe we've seen a talent like this in women's boxing before. Someone that boxes and moves, someone that's made for the professional stage. She's the youngest ever, or the youngest women's licensed boxer in the whole country. She's the first of that generation. Most of the fighters that we sign, 30 plus, coming at the end of a 10-year long amateur career. This is something very different, and as I say, she'll have her name up with the Savannahs, with the Tashas, with the Laurens very, very soon, and delighted to have her in the stable and building the next stars of women's boxing.
I should say well done to Savannah Marshall on her PFL MMA debut at the weekend as well. Let's go down to the other end. Dan Aziz, great to have you back, and it is a chance to get straight back on the horse after a first career defeat to your good friend Joshua Buatsi. So what have you gone away and thought about, worked on, and what do you want to show us?
I've just gone away, gone back to the drawing board, and just realised, there's always room for improvement. There's always so much more to learn, and I'm just ready to prove that I'm, still one of the best light heavyweights, not only in Britain but in the world. And this is where the journey starts again. Just like when I first turned over, I had to work my way up. Again, taking the defeat, gone back, and now we climb the ladder again.
I've heard fighters talk about it before. You almost feel that you're invincible. Now you know that you're human. How do you process defeat, and how desperate are you to not feel that feeling again?
Do you know what? It's not so much about processing the defeat, because we all are human. There's boxers, greats that I couldn't even tie their shoelaces, that have got multiple losses and whatnot. But this is where, you define your character, and you know really and truly who you are. It's all good when you're winning and, you're getting this belt and everything's plain sailing. But when you get that knockback, it's how you come back from it, how you challenge adversity. And I think June 15th, as much as I say, I'm back on it and whatnot, when I get in there, that's when the true me, the true character, Super Dan Aziz, what he's about is going to show after a loss. So, yeah.
Yeah, great message. What about Havoya Sepp? Very, very good amateur. He was in the WSB as well. He's a handful. If he's coming to win, and we expect that he is, because he's probably looking at you thinking he's coming off a defeat, this is a good time to get him. I think TV fight-wise, though, styles should really gel in that one. Is that what you're expecting?
Yeah, no, for sure. In training, my coaches just kept saying, you ain't got to look for this guy. So, and I just reply, yeah, you ain't got to look for me. So I think this is going to be, one of those fights. I'm looking forward to it. like you said, he has an extensive amateur pedigree. He's tough, he's durable. I know boxers who have fought him and say, yeah, he really comes for it. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I think any card benefits from having Dan Aziz on it, just because of the fights that he's been in have been so TV friendly. When you decided to come to Selhurst Park, how important was it that you had good local talent on there, and Dan Aziz definitely ticks that box?
Yeah, he's a fan favourite. He's become one of the most popular fighters in British boxing. But for me, the Buatsi fight was a learning fight. It was his first fight at world level. He'll look back on that with a little bit more experience at that world level and felt he could have won that night. And that's what this is now all about. He wants the big fights. If it was up to him, he'd be fighting Lyndon Arthur on Saturday night. I believe he'll be fighting him next. This is still a tough fight. It's great to have him back. South London and proud, and it's great to have him in the stadium like this. But that light heavyweight division, that British light heavyweight division, is absolutely huge right now, and Dan wants to get right back to the top of that, and I believe he will.
Yeah, definitely. Echo that message. Light heavyweight division is really cooking at the moment domestically. Let's move to the cruiserweights. And good to see Jack Massey. Good to see you. So the gym's flying at the moment. You helped Lawrence Sokoe prepare, and he went out there and did the business in Poland. Now it's your turn. How confident are you that you beat Isaac Chamberlain on Saturday, and what have you got to do to beat him?
Listen, I'm the most confident I've ever been going into a fight. I just know I've got this. It was my little girl's first birthday yesterday, and I told her before I left to come down here, I'm bringing you 2 nice shiny presents back home. He'll have to have a shotgun in that ring on Saturday night. He's not going to stop me. There's no stopping me. I'm going to be like a man possessed.
I've already heard the phrase from some pundits, I'm picking the upset. And some people have pulled me and said, well, what would actually be the upset? Do you see yourself as a favourite or an underdog going into this? I mean, in some ways, do you have to adopt that underdog mentality anyway?
Listen, I don't read into it too much what other people say. I know I'm a level above him, and I know I'm going to beat him on Saturday night. That's all there is to it.
What do you think of Isaac as a fighter?
He's a good fighter. He's up there. I think he's he had his back and forth with Vidal's and his Chevs, and I think he's a level above them guys, and I think he deserves to be at this level. But I just think I'm a level above him, and get that job done on Saturday night, and we can look for world title level.
What do you think that you do better than him?
I'm better than him all around. He's a clowner. You can tell he's nervous. He's clowning around. It's what it is, mate. You just got to man up. It's what it is. Don't be nervous. Don't clown around. You're showing it a bit too much. Just be a man about it. Get in the ring and have a fight. You don't need to do all this clowning around.
Oh yeah, you think I'm nervous? Yeah. All right then.
Well, let me ask you: are there any nerves there? It's the gateway. It's the European title in its own right, which is a big belt, and it should be given its moment.
No,
but this is also the gateway to big fights, notably potentially the top of the bill, Chris Billam-Smith and Richard Riakporhe down the line.
Yeah, no nerves. It's just excitement. I like being in this environment, man. I like seeing everybody coming out, a big fight feeling. It's just nice to be a part of. I like soaking things like this in, because one day you're not going to be able to do it anymore. So why not enjoy myself and be myself instead of big stiff Jack over there acting all serious like Shrek, bro. Just be calm, bro. I'm calm. This is just who I am. I'm not trying to play a part, bro. I'm just chilling.
You are a brilliant wind-up merchant, though, if I do say so myself. Do you
I wouldn't say I'm a wind-up merchant. I'm just being myself, man. I'm just being myself, bro. I love it. Why are you looking at what he's doing?
Do you believe that you're getting under Jack's skin?
I don't care. I don't care. I could or couldn't. I don't care. It's just I'm just enjoying myself and enjoying the fight week, because the preparations is done. The hard training and the hard stuff is done. Now it's just about enjoying the moment and enjoying Saturday night when South London is full up.
You did go head-to-head yesterday, though, and it was a serious head-to-head. And when Savage Dan asked Jack how he sees the fight going, he said it ends up with Isaac flat on his back. What was your response to that?
Have I ever been flat on my back before?
Well, no one's kept you there.
Okay. And he's going to be the first one to do it.
Jack, he said, are you going to be the first to do it?
I didn't hear a word what he said there.
He said,
are you going to be the first person
to put you on the deck?
Flat on my back.
I'm not your spark out. Told you.
Man. That's just
You know what you are, bro?
I don't. You see,
You're just a big lump, bro. You're just a big lump that can fight a bit. You're going to throw the jab, the right hand, the left hook. You're going to come, you know, and young Gallagher's going to go, come on, use the jab, son. Go on. I see through you, bro. And I know what's going to happen on Saturday night. We got a game plan for you. We got a game plan. You're just going off your win over your loss over Joseph Parker, like you survived. And at the end of the rounds, you was all celebrating because you never got knocked out. Don't do that, brother. Don't do that. You were just celebrating like, oh my days, we survived Joseph Parker. Oh my God, let's start jumping for joy because you survived.
Listen, we're 2 days away. We'll see.
We'll see what?
We'll see.
What are we going to see?
You're going to find out in the first round when they land on you.
Huh?
Your face is going to be...
Huh?
You're going to be able to tell by your face.
What? All I can... I can't understand what you're saying.
You're a clown, mate. Have a little bit more respect for yourself.
That's what they all say until they
You're showing your nerves. You're showing your nerves.
Well, I think we can all agree that this one has got all the potential for a good fight.
I don't know why you're looking at Ben. Ben isn't going to help you.
What?
I don't know why you're looking at him. He's not going to back you up.
I'm not going to lie. Someone needs to fix these mics.
Just me and you Saturday night. Just me and you.
You need to fix the mics.
Well, Ben, just a word on that fight. I think I caught a stray there for some of them generic, boring questions, but I'll let you off that one.
I never heard.
Okay, don't worry. Very rarely does a replacement fight perhaps tick more boxes than the original. Best of wishes to Michel Sislak in his recovery. But when Jack Massey stepped in, I think UK fight fans certainly all sat up in their chairs. This is a very, very good fight.
It's a huge fight. For me, as I said, the top 4 cruiserweights in the country on one card, 2 50-50 fights. Isaac's worked hard to be here. When we first got involved with him, he took Chris Billam-Smith on 6 weeks' notice and always gives us great fights. Jack Massey, I've known him for a long time as well. Obviously, Isaac mentioned his Joseph Parker fight there, but he's a tough man and one of the best cruiserweights in the country who will really fancy his chances. It's a 50-50 fight. I can't call it. It's a lot on the line. It's a European title, and the winner will have an eye on the winner of the main event as well. That's how big this fight is in both these men's careers. And so, yeah, I think for me, the fight of the night, and one I'm really looking forward to.
Well, best of luck to both fighters. Let's move on to our next fight, which was born at a press conference at exactly this point during Wardley Clark Fight Week. Ezra Aranika, perhaps, I think in the nicest possible terms, not many people knew too much about you before that press conference. On Saturday night, are we going to know a hell of a lot more? Can you be the man to beat Ben Whittaker?
First of all, I want to say thanks, Jah, thank God, Alhamdulillah, thanks to the universe for putting me here today. It's not by my power, but by God's power. On June 15th on Saturday, a new light heavyweight prospect is going to be born, and the British boxing fans are in for a treat. Get crashed in the press conference a few months ago. What's gotten me here today? Everything was calculated, and I'm happy. Yeah, the fight has been made. The hard work has been done. I have a great task to accomplish, fighting Ben Whittaker. He's a great fighter. He's an Olympian. He's slick, got skills. But I bring the power. He brings the skill, but I bring the will. So it's going to be a different ball game, and it's just exciting. I'm excited. I feel like a kid in Disneyland because this is what dreams are made of, and I just can't wait to perform and see what I'm made of, see what Ben is made of, and give the great British boxing fans a night to remember.
Ben Whittaker, I'll bring you straight in. The line that you gave us at the time was, I'm going to make sure nobody does this again. I'm going to punish Ezra to show that you can't just turn up at a press conference, land yourself a fight. So what's your response to him now it's here?
Firstly, quick little a round of applause, because I don't know where you was yesterday, you went missing. So I'm so thankful you turned up. Fighting for my first title. I thought I was going to be shadowboxing. You know what I mean? So thank you for turning up. And you're going to see why I'm not no undercard. I'm the main event come Saturday.
What do you have to do to beat him?
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm just going to be Ezra Arenka and perform.
Just be yourself.
That's it.
And every time you walk to that ring, just know it's going to get scarier and scarier and scarier. When you get in your hands wrapped, it's okay. Your heart will race a little bit. But just make sure you take some deep breaths and you got a couple of water bottles to calm yourself down. When you're tying your boots, when you're putting your shorts on, it's going to get scarier and scarier and scarier. It's okay. I'll take you through a couple rounds. It will be painful, but I'll take you through. Every time you're about to stumble, I'll pick you back up. But don't worry, man. It will be over before you know it.
Yeah, no problem. Fear is my friend, so it's okay. It's going to be a great night, and we're just going to have fun. So, yeah, let's go, champ.
You're actually, I do want to make sure that this gets reported. So you're balancing your life at the moment. So this is a huge chapter, and at the end of this month, you've got another huge chapter. You would be Dr. Ezra Arenka, is that right?
Yeah, so throughout camp, I've been working on my thesis, my PhD thesis, while training every day. So submit the thesis end of this month. Hopefully by end of this year, I defend it. Then I become a doctor. So yeah, so it's been a great camp and 2 turning points for me in my life. So yeah, I'm excited. As I said, I'm like a kid in Disneyland.
Ben, that would make it the doctor against the surgeon. So who comes out on top in that?
That sounds cute. But at the end of the day, he's 12-0, 10 knockouts. He's got more knockouts than I got fights. Know what I mean? But when I do what I do, I put on my display, you see why I'm different to these type of guys.
Do you believe that you have seen the likes of Ezra Arenka before, being a world-class amateur international Olympian, that people can talk it, that you haven't seen anything like me before, but deep down you feel that you have boxed someone like him before?
Yeah, you know, I've seen this style many, many times. You don't get to buy Olympic medals. I worked hard for it. And at the end of the day, he's taught the talk. Saturday, he's got to walk the walk. I've done this many, many times. I'm comfortable up here. Just make sure you turn up Saturday and put on a great fight for the fans.
Yeah, as I said, it's going to be a great night of boxing. Me and Ben, we're going to put on the line. Hopefully, we can create the first round like Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns. I know he likes Tommy Hearns, so let's go. So me and him can get it done, and everyone going to be excited, and you're going to get your money's worth on June 15th.
Well, we wish you both all the best. Ben Shalom, I mean, I think we both looked at each other during that press conference. I'm not sure I believed that it would manifest itself and lead to this point, but it has. Ben Whittaker has that target on his head. Everybody wants to be the first man to beat Ben Whittaker, and it does lend itself to this type of spectacle. You know, we're going to find out.
Yeah, I think it's time for Ben to make another statement. There is not another fighter where we get more requests to fight, inundated with light heavyweights all over the world that want to fight Ben Whittaker because of what he brings. And he's got to make a statement of why that's the wrong thing to be doing. I think Ezra's a great opponent. He's coming here with heavy hands, 10 knockouts out of 12. It should play into Ben's hands. But yeah, it's time to make another statement. This is the last fight before, hopefully, we headline in the hometown in September, and it's a stadium show. And for me, it's a fight to really look out for and to really watch with Ezra coming in like this.
Well, thank you to all of you. Best of luck. I should just say we've also got Devon Miller against Edwin Mosquera, Mitchell Frierson against Marco Simmons, and Luis Pachete in a 4-rounder at heavyweight. We're going to break now for...
Last thing I was going to say, final tickets at Boxer.com. I think we're over 15,000 now. We open at 4:30. Doors close very, very early on the night. So make sure you get in there before 6:30 when doors will close.
Okay, we're going to break for the head-to-heads now. If everybody can just stay in their seats, you'll get your shots, get your head-to-head, and then everyone's available for one-on-ones.
Just a way to get... I need the bars on together.
gonna start.
Isaac Chamberlain, Jack Massey. I mean, it's got spice written all over it, isn't it? And I think what Andy said up there is pretty fair, really, that it was meant to be Michel Sislak, and obviously he's had to withdraw through injury. And in comes Jack Massey. And this is a fight that the fans probably would want to see even more so, because it's a British rivalry.
Without a doubt, I don't know if the sound was clear at home, but the point what Isaac was making was that Jack Massey was celebrating his loss to Joseph Parker, and as a fighter, he's basically saying, "Why are you celebrating a loss? That's what you're measuring yourself on that. You got beat up by him." Jack Massey's a good fighter. Isaac Chamberlain has proved he's a very clever fighter.
Did he though?
Yeah.
He gave a good account of himself.
He did, but if you're celebrating a loss, you're just happy to survived. And fighters to fighters, it's like you lost. Don't celebrate that you survived the distance. So you can't live off that glory of surviving. So the respect-wise, it showed he can hold himself together with a heavyweight, but not beat them. So now he's at cruiserweight. He's going to come back down to it now. Massey has the height on him, confidence because he thinks I've been in with the big boys. But Isaac Chamberlain's very good at causing trouble in an empty room. Dropping little one-liners. He's never too serious. He actually reminds me of 50 Cent. One of those little
he enjoys attention, doesn't he? He likes the spotlight being on him.
Yes, he does, and he does it really subtly as well. He's a very clever boxer, and for a large chunk of his career, he's happy to come second place because he's been a great sparring partner. Now he's got to change that. He's got to get used to coming first place. This is for European title, my old title. This is what
two of your old titles on the line on Saturday night, the WBO as well, and this European title.
I think I must have shrunk as an older man because I used to be the biggest cruiserweight going. Now these boys tower over me.
Andy, what do you think in this one? Could we potentially see an upset, do you think?
I think this is 50-55.
Right.
So I would like to say what would constitute an upset, because Massey was a good amateur. He had that fight against Parker, which was a massive gamble. That shows the kind of minerals that he has. And he's a big cruiserweight. He's tall. He weighed in 15.2 for Parker, and that's basically what he is on the night at cruiserweight. All he did in that fight really was just not do the weight cut. He trained as normal and didn't do the weight cut. Chamberlain described him as an ABC fighter, and I think he's accurate describing it as that. If you've got good ABCs
and be effective with it,
that's the key to everything. So they are stylistically quite different, but I think it's a fascinating fight, because the paths that they've trodden have been quite similar too. They've been out in the wilderness at times in their careers and brought themselves back by taking big fights at quite short notice and against the odds. Against Billam-Smith, Jack did it against Parker, so they've got quite a lot in common.
It's going to be an intriguing fight, and I think both fighters are looking to grab the limelight on Saturday night, as is Ben Whittaker, again looking to put on a show. He is the showman, as cool as you like. But what do we know about Araniko?
Not a lot, really. Just that he's undefeated. He's got 10 knockouts out of 12 against relatively, lower opposition than what Ben Whittaker's fought. But also Ben Whittaker hasn't, if you go over his whole boxing career, as a pro, he's unproven as a professional. But we know he's a top fighter because he's got the Olympic silver medalist and other achievements as an amateur. Very decorated amateur, very talented, making his way now as a professional. I think what his opponent will bring will be he's got nothing to lose. He can punch and he'll come for it, I believe.
And you got to give him credit for getting the fight. I mean, he basically gate crashed the press conference and has forced his way into the fight.
Yeah, I'm grateful to him because I was in the frame for this one briefly
yes,
at the press conference last time. So thank you.
You dodged that one.
Thank you very much, Ezra Araniko. He's confident. I had a long chat with him before we sat down here. He's got the confidence of an undefeated fighter. He's got a lot of life experience. He's not intimidated by Whittaker, but there is a gulf between these two in terms of ability. And I like what we see from Whittaker in Fight Week now. This pattern is emerging, whereby at the workouts, he's smiley, he's laughing, but there's an edge to him today. When he said in there that he's going to hold him up for a couple of rounds, punish him, and then take him out, he means it. That's what he wants to do. He wants to teach him a lesson, because yes, this is about appealing to as many people as you possibly can, but boxing, when it comes down to it, is a cold, vicious business. And as fight week progresses, we see him get nastier and nastier, I think, and I like it.
Do you agree with that, Andy? Just saying that. I mean, essentially saying Ben's now he's developing into his persona, isn't he? And he's saying he gets nastier and nastier as the week goes on. There's a bit of spite there now from Ben. What do you think we're going to see from him on Saturday? A masterclass? He's going to try and embarrass Erenika? What do you think he'll try and do?
I think. Listen, I took I took Sheldon McDonald to go and spar with Erenika in preparation for this. And what I saw, obviously, we'll discuss it fight night. I don't think it's fair to discuss it now, but I believe Ben Whittaker will put an absolute masterclass on Erenika. He's frustrated because Erenika, as far as he's concerned, doesn't deserve the opportunity. And he said, "I won't be doing this again. I'm not giving a man that hasn't deserved the chance because he shouted and he screamed and he gate crashed my press conference. I'll get this job done, but I'll show people. Don't just put anybody in with me." I understand that and I get that.
But one thing we are seeing of Ben is activity. You know, we're seeing him on a regular basis, which is supremely important.
Oh, big time. He's a slick boxer, very talented. His career was slow to get going. Injuries have hampered him. Thank God they seem to be behind him, and he's
putting fights together now and building some momentum.
And when it comes to Ben Whittaker as well, it's not just what we see in the ring, it's everything that goes with him. It's that kind of like Nas effect, isn't it? Everyone waits for the ring horse. What's he going to do? What's he going to bring? And that's the X factor that people, Marmite, you either love him or you hate him, but that's exactly what he's doing and doing well.
Most fighters are scared to be so in your face with the reporters, with the press, with the public, because they're scared of being shut down or ignored. This fella doesn't care. So it makes you want more, makes you want to listen more, makes you want to see him lose, makes you want to see him win, but it makes you want to see him.
Talking about you, Ben. Perfect timing there coming up.
I'm in a better mood today, so we're friends.
Oh.
We're friends today, guys. We're friends.
He just said that basically Ezra's taken his place. He was worried that he was going to have to fight you, so it's all good.
There was a title on the line. That would have been the best build
I could probably do 12 toe 7 by tomorrow, I think, if I dried out overnight.
We'll sort it out, because we don't know maybe he'll turn up or not, so we'll see.
How are you feeling, though, ahead of this one? Because it's an interesting way that this one came about. Ezra basically forced his way into the fight. He barged into your press conference, gate crash, and he's made the fight. Not what you were expecting necessarily, but are you looking for on Saturday to just basically show everyone who you are and embarrass him?
Hit the nail on the head. If I'm honest, I'm in great spirits. Everything's gone right. And when you got that feeling about you know something special's going on. So for me, of course, you got to respect him. He took his opportunity. If I was in that position, I would do the same. But for me, it's too much that he's bitter.
What do you know about him?
I know he's 12-0 with 10 knockouts, more knockouts than I've had fights. So on paper, he might bang, but I believe there's just levels in this game for a reason.
Are you looking beyond this? I mean, it seems like you are, because quite often with fighters, they're like, no, I'm focusing on Saturday night, but I get the vibe that you're very much like, yeah, this is all right, I'm on to the next. So what is the bigger plan?
Honestly, I'm 50-50. I'm always in the future. I like to look at the landscape, look what's there. But if you do that, you forget the now. I'm living in the now right now, because at the end of the day, you still might be dangerous. I've got to go out there and perform. And when you put a performance on, the future's looking brighter. So for me, do the right thing Saturday. The ball's rolling.
Does that mean we're going to see some more showboating? Are we going to see the flair? Are we going to expect another viral clip coming from Ben Whittaker?
You know the score. I'll bring the glitz and glam, and that's what I'm looking to do. It's going to be my biggest arena yet. It's only right I put on a show.
Talk to me about that. How different do you think it will feel fighting outside to be in an arena? Does it make a difference?
Knowing it's English weather and knowing my luck, it'll probably be snowing when I'm in there. So, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to it. I've always wanted to do a stadium fight. I've got my chance now. So I'm excited for it, and I'm thriving off it, if I'm honest.
Johnny, what are you looking to see from Ben on Saturday?
I'm looking to see a vintage performance. When this fight was first called out, I sensed frustration that somebody that, you know, he said this won't happen again. You know, you need to deserve your shot to fight me. I think that's helped motivate him in preparation for this fight. To send a message not just out to Araniki, but to everybody that's in his position. If you're going to fight me, you've got to deserve the spot. And that's a man with his eye on the future, on bigger and better things. No disrespect to the ones behind you. So I get that. I get he'd want to put on an unbelievable surgeon's performance. I get that totally. So I'm just looking forward to see how it's done.
Before we let you go, can you give us any insight to what we're going to get on your ring walk? I mean, that's part of it now, isn't it?
Yeah. You know what? I'm so thankful I got Sky backing me, because the invoices are getting bigger and bigger. You know what I mean? So this one, we spent a bit of a budget, but it's only right for the fans. The fans are coming out, put on a show for them, so just make sure you don't miss it. You know what I mean? After that, you can turn it up if you want, but make sure you tune in for that.
You haven't got him dancing for you, have you?
You know what? We've been teaching him a couple. He got twinkle toes.
There's not enough budget for that.
I mean, he's got twinkle toes, so we asked him. His budget was too high, so we had to get somebody else in. You know what I mean?
Phew. Okay. Good luck, Ben. We'll speak to you tomorrow. Good to see you.
See you on the other side.
Good to see you. Yeah. Get the whole clobber in. Well, that was nice. Much nicer than last time, Andy. And it seems in a really, really good place, doesn't it?
Yeah, he does. He does. He's box office already. His fights are they're events, and it's because of the ring walk, and it's because of him. And I think he's fine-tuning his. I slightly hesitate to describe it as an act, because I don't think it is an act. But bit by bit, I think he's getting better and better at it. He's very, very convincing, and the ability level is there for all to see.
It's more of a persona, don't you think, rather than an act? It's part of who he is as a fighter.
Yeah, and Fight Week is an interesting process for fighters to go through, and different people handle it in different ways. But as I said, I just enjoy the fact that, you know, we're seeing that edge now, because this is pro boxing. This is a serious business.
How are you doing, Isaac?
Very good, thank you.
Feeling good?
Yeah, I feel great. You know, just nice, just soaking up everything, soaking up the whole moment. You know.
It's got a little bit spicy between you two, you and Jack Massey, and that seems to be pretty real.
Yeah, me, I'm just enjoying myself, man. Because I know one day you're not going to be able to do this, so I'm having to soak it up. And I got that advice from the main man here, Johnny Nelson, saying enjoy it. Don't take it so serious. You have to enjoy everything, because soon when you're retired, you're going to think of these memories and say, I wish I enjoyed it more. So,
apologies there for any language that might have offended you. We'll try not to swear anymore. In terms of Jack Massey, where do you see that you have the advantages over him? Where do you see his weaknesses?
You know, my boxing brain, my speed, my explosiveness, my footwork, my power even, when I catch him. And I know that, you know, I have the right minerals. You know, everybody knows that I'm tough, but I can even outlast him with that. But I'm going to try and, you know, do my best and stick to the game plan and become the new cruiserweight champion of Europe.
And I'm sure you'll be eyeing at the main event as well and wanting a piece of that, and also people to be talking about you. It's an opportunity as well for you on Saturday night to grab the limelight, to get, you know, your name even more out there and just try and steal the show.
Yeah, definitely. You know, that's what the plan is. But I'm just really focused on just taking everything and just knowing that this is my time. You know, it's been a long road to get here. You know, it's been a long road. I've been a pro a while now, and now it's just really time for everything to elevate. And I feel like I'm in a good place. I'm peaking at the right time. You know, the training has been hard, but it's been, you know, it's been good.
Matt, what would you say that the keys to victory would be for Isaac on Saturday?
Look, he's got to show good defence. I think his jab's important. He's probably got better speed and a few more angles than Massey, but Massey's consistent. He does, you know, what he said, he might be an ABC guy, but he does A, B and C very well. He's very good at what he does, the basics well. Doesn't do anything special, but he sticks to it and it works for him. You know, he's had 2 losses like Isaac has, and like Isaac, those defeats actually got better with ABC than there were people have gone on to do. Yeah, he lost to Parker, and Isaac said, I was happy to survive, but he took it short notice. He stepped up to heavyweight, and if you look what Parker's gone on to do since then, that's not a bad result for Jack Massey. And the other loss was a split decision to Riakporhe. So, you know, either guy who wins, and I don't know who that's going to be, has got a legitimate, you know, call out of the winner of the main event.
Exactly, and let's talk about the main event. They're all up there on the top table, ready to go. Who are you fancying in this one?
You know what? It's just one moment I'm saying Chris, one moment I'm saying Richard.
Are we all?
It's just mental. It's hard, you know, because you know Richard obviously has the power. Chris is very, very tough, and he will have a great game plan with Shane to neutralize that. But Chris has been in a lot of fights. He's been very active. Richard hasn't been active, but the times he has.
Is that a good or a bad thing? Because obviously Chris has been in the fights, but he's been in some really, really tough fights.
Yeah, but what do you call it? Like, ring activity is so important. You need to have that experience in ring activity. And because he's been out a little bit, Richard, it's not really going to do him much favours. But the times when he has been fighting, he's knocked them out early. So, you know, he hasn't had that tough test. And I feel like Chris is going to put undeniable amounts of pressure, like to the point he won't breathe. So they have to be prepared. Both of them have to be prepared. I think it's going to be an electric fight.
Essentially, it's you don't know. I mean, it really, really could be anyone, couldn't it? Best of luck for yourself on Saturday. I'm sure we'll see you tomorrow as well. Nice to see you, Isaac. I think the guys are ready to roll there on the top table. So we shall hand you over to Big Mo and get this main event presser underway.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the main event this Saturday. But first, nearly 5 years ago, the gentlemen in the Midnight Train fought, and now in a stadium at Selhurst Park for the 100th anniversary of Selhurst Park, this time for the world title, they meet again in the rematch. Live on Sky Sports and NBC's Peacock in over 150 territories will you be able to watch Chris Billam-Smith versus Richard Riakporhe 2. And now to kick off this main event press conference, I want to welcome back on stage from Sky Sports, Mr. Andy Scott, and the CEO and founder of Boxer and the promoter of this championship main event, Mr. Ben Shalom. And now introducing the challenger, joined by his trainer, Angel Fernandez. He was victorious the first time they fought, now looking to repeat and win his first world championship. From London, the undefeated, the former British and WBA Intercontinental Cruiserweight Champion. He is the Midnight Train. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Richard Riakporhe. And now the defending champion, joined by his trainer, Shane McGuigan. 1 year ago, he dethroned an undefeated champion. He then defended his belt against a world-renowned veteran where he stopped him in the 8th round. This man brought world championship boxing to Bournemouth. Please welcome the former British, Commonwealth, and European Cruiserweight champion. Taking his belt on the road, he is the reigning, defending WBO Cruiserweight champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman, Chris Billam-Smith. Andy Scott, Ben Shalom, to you guys.
Thanks very much. Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for staying around. What a fight we have on our hands on Saturday night. There's so many levels to this, so many layers. A rematch. Two hungry fighters who want to run it back, and this time for a world title. There really is nothing like a domestic world title fight. 5 years, in some ways it feels like it's gone very quickly, but actually when you think of everything in between, it feels like it's taken its time. But all roads have led back to Saturday night, 100 years of Selhurst Park. It's another stadium fight. Ben Shalom, just briefly before we go to the fighters, feels like we've been talking about this fight forever, and now it's here. It really is exciting.
5 years, did you say? Yeah, it feels like forever. I think both fighters have improved so much in the past couple of years, in particular, fighters that we've worked very closely with. Chris Billam-Smith, from European level, from headlining for the first time. This is his third world title fight, back-to-back, headlining another stadium. It's been an unbelievable journey, and he'll want the journey to continue with Richard Riakporhe, the first fighter that we signed. The first fighter that opened in an 8-rounder on our first Sky Sports broadcast, worked incredibly hard, improved a lot as well, and now finds himself challenging for a world title against Chris Billam-Smith. Richard Riakporhe being the only man to ever beat Chris. It's got everything. As you said, the rematch, they know each other well. It's a domestic world title fight in a stadium. For British boxing fans, it doesn't get quite bigger than this.
We welcome both trainers to the top table as well, but let's go straight to the fighters and everyone will get their chance. Let's go to the champion, Chris Billam-Smith. Worked so desperately hard to win that world title. What do you need to do on Saturday to make sure it's going back down the road to Bournemouth?
Be myself. That's what I need to do on Saturday, is be myself. All the experience I've had of world championship fights, you know, and the camps and being on those big shows, headlining the big shows, just use all that experience and go in there and perform.
Heard that word a lot in the build-up, experience. Can you quantify and qualify just how important that is? Can you put yourself in Richard Riakporhe's shoes? It wasn't so long ago that you were at the top table for your first world title fight. You were walking into the stadium for your first stadium fight. How important is that experience?
Yeah, the experience is everything. It's the experience that I had even before that, going into that stadium fight, where I'd luckily headlined shows back home and had that big occasion, which was great experience I needed for going into the world title fight at the stadium. So that was key for me. And I mean, Johnny Nelson said it yesterday. You can't buy experience, you can't fake it. You have to experience to get it, to gain that. And thankfully, I've got that.
How much better do you think you are now compared to when you fought the first time in 2019?
I'm different in so many ways. It's so irrelevant because I almost see it as a different person and almost see myself as like it's 20 years ago in boxing terms. It seems that long ago because I'm such a different fighter. And yeah, it's been a great journey from then to now, and it's the experience and the growth that I've had has been is massive.
In a number of ways, it wouldn't be a Chris Billam-Smith fight week if there wasn't some sort of drama going on in the background. And you probably won't tell us, but what have we had so far? We've had completing on a house. I think was Frank, your son, born around the time you were masking illness last time. I do have to say, on the surface this time, you've cut a very relaxed and happy fighter. So now is your chance to tell us the truth.
No, I'm good. It's actually, this is a very stress-free weeks for me, and I'm enjoying it. You know, it's great to be on a massive show in London as well. You know, it's the capital. It's where all the massive fights happen, and I'm just enjoying every moment.
Let's go to the challenger. We'll come back to you, Chris, in due time. Welcome, Richard. Your first world title, final press conference. In the build-up, you've been describing yourself as a salivating hyena. As you sit here now, how would you describe how you're feeling and what we're going to get on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I've been waiting for this opportunity for a very long time, as you know, and I'm just hungry. I'm ready to challenge for this title, take this title, and I want to win some more titles.
You've been very good in the build-up with some of your verbal attacks, and I think when you were on Sky Sports News, you said depending on what footwear he wears to the press conference will determine how I feel about what round I knock him out in. So have you sized him up, and can you give us a little bit more of an insight into what you think now on Saturday?
Well, I need to see his shoes first. I haven't seen what he's wearing, but it's just a bit of banter. Just a bit of banter, man. But yeah, you know what you're gonna get. It's a proper fight. A lot of people love the first one, and they're very interested in seeing the second one. So we're ready to get on.
Yeah, I'll ask you the same question that I asked Chris there. How much do you think you are a better fighter compared to 2019? What would the Richard Riakporhe that sits here now, what would he do to the Richard Riakporhe that fought in the first fight? Is it chalk and cheese? Do you believe that you have improved that much under Angel Fernandez, that you are a better all-rounded fighter?
Absolutely. I know my way around the ring now. You know, boxing IQ. I've been in a lot of situations in the ring, and I'm able to overcome them. So, yeah, it's giving me a lot more confidence. My team is very professional, training up in Loughborough University, got the best facilities in the country, very meticulous team that I'm working with. So, you know, it's definitely added to my game. You know, all of those little percents it adds, and you're going to see when we fight on Saturday.
How relevant is the first fight? I think everybody can admit and appreciate that you are two very different fighters now. You were both 9-0 at the time, and you know now what are we 19 and 19 wins and 1 loss for Chris and 17-0 for you. But do you believe that you've made the necessary adjustments that you can win this fight inside the distance? Chris was very vocal that he believes he will win this fight inside the distance.
Well, yeah.
Is it even important to you?
To be honest, it's a win. The win is the most important thing. I'm naturally a power puncher. I look for the knockouts. I don't want to go 12 rounds. I always want to finish the fight within the distance, which is why people have grown to like me over time. And yeah, we know how to skin a cat. There's many different ways.
Crystal Palace have been very, very supportive of you. Have you dared yourself to start to visualise how you'll feel at the top of the ring wall ramp when you've got over 15,000 in there cheering you on? I put it to you earlier in the week that might be added pressure, but you almost stopped me and said, no, it's a privilege. It won't affect me in a negative way. It's nothing but positive.
No, it's a privilege to have that type of support in South London, where all of us are able to resonate with each other, because we know how it is growing up in such a tough environment, and it's breeded us, and it's basically conditioned us for these moments. You know what I mean? It's given us a different type of mentality. That's why we say we're cut from a different cloth. You know, to grow up there, you have to be tough, and to have that support. And I get a lot of random people coming up to me and saying, "Look, Rich, I know you're going to do it," because they know it's once we get these opportunities, we take it with both hands.
Chris told us earlier in the week that he believes he wins this fight inside the distance, and when I put that to you, you said that you don't think that Chris believes his own words. Do you still stand by that?
Yeah, I do stand by that, because I've never heard him say that until recently. He could have said that from the very beginning. I've been saying what I've been saying from the very beginning, so I don't take that. I don't take that as truth.
You also said you think he's in decline, and that you've heard through the boxing grapevine, which is a weird and wonderful place, that he is on the decline.
To be fair, I never really watched Chris. Obviously, I was at the fights, but I was more watching it as a boxing fan. And sometimes I go on Twitter and I'll see some of the comments, what people say about the performances, and to say the least, it wasn't really good. A lot of people mentioned about the deterioration, and it kind of brought it to light. And then that's when I thought, you know what, let me see what this deterioration is really about. You know, because boxing is not easy. You know, sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes you have an off day, have a bad performance. It's normal. You know, it happens in football all the time. But when I watch the fights back, you know, from a technical analysis, I started to see a lot of gaps. And I wondered, what's the difference? I watched my fight back with him, and I noticed he was much more live. He was fresh, you know. But I feel like it's a normal wear and tear on a boxer. You know, when you're taking too much shots, when you're gifted with a chin like CBS, sometimes you want to say it's not affecting you, but it is. It's science, and you can't avoid it, which is why we can't stay in our prime forever. And we're going to see what he has left. Maybe he's still all right, maybe he's not, but it all depends on when I land the shots in the final.
I'll give you the chance to come back on that and also bring in the wider team in Shane McGuigan. Are you on the decline? Is the word on Twitter the right word to take? And Shane, do you have any thoughts on that as well?
To be honest, I couldn't hear a lot of what was being said. But my answer to the deterioration thing is, I think he's just hoping for it, to be honest, and that's what he's hoping for. So there's no decline, and you'll see that on Saturday night.
I think one of the things that we all took from some of the things that were said in the build-up is that, yeah, Richard has gone with Angel Fernandez and improved perhaps his all-round game, but Chris's punching power is being slept on in some regard, that he is punching a lot harder now compared to 2019. What else do you think he's added to his game?
Just all round, he's got the experience. He uses his jab a lot more effective. He doesn't waste energy. He doesn't run around the ring. He's a lot more poised when he's in there. He uses his feints to his advantage, and he's got that inner belief. You know, these are the things that that can make those attacks a lot more meaningful. Do you know what I mean? Like as a novice pro coming out of the amateurs, you don't know how to set up attacks. Whereas, does their power really increase? A little bit. Does their jab and speed really increase? Not really. It's just about how they set the attacks up, how they go about it, how they sustain attacks, and that's something that he's learned how to do. If you've just seen it with the Lawrence Okoli fight, and he's just a completely different beast these days.
I listened to the radio this morning, and they were disputing the betting odds as to why Chris is such a large underdog. I mean, any thoughts on why that might be? Has everybody got this wrong?
It's 12
the
to 1.
bookmakers,
I think it's 12 to 1 or 14 to 1 for a knockout. So, for Chris Billam-Smith. Got two 15.5 stone guys like whacking each other. I think that's pretty good odds.
Let's bring in Angel Fernandez. I understand it's difficult up here hearing what each other are saying. What have you done with Richard that you think has made him a better all-round fighter since he's been with you? We know that he came to you as a very explosive, I think, if you don't mind me saying, a raw puncher at times. What have you worked on, and what do you think the key to victory is for Richard Riakporhe?
Obviously, we starting working on the technical side, a bit more tactically, but I think lately a bit more spiritual, mentally, and he's going to be ready. We expect him the best. CBS, we have a lot of respect for the team, and they're going to expect the best Richard Riakporhe to date.
What advice can you give Richard from a mentality point of view in terms of a packed-out stadium and a first world title fight? Is it just trying to keep a lid on things until you need to flick the switch, or is he a natural performer anyway, and you don't need to worry about that?
He is a natural performer. All these things we speak in the camp, he knows what he needs to do. He is a professional, and he will rely on me in the corner just to see if we need to change things. So he is going to be a very good fight on Saturday night.
I'll just give the opportunity for you two to give one final message. So I'll ask you first, Richard, what is your final message to CBS?
My final message is just to take care.
That's a nice message. What is your message to? Probably not what we wanted for a big press conference, but hey, it's a nice thing. What's your message to Richard?
Thank you. I will.
Maybe this is one of those where you don't necessarily need the table to go flying and the verbal battle. If you've watched the first fight, I think everybody knows deep down it was a very, very close fight, a very, very good fight. Both fighters have obviously gone away and improved. And I think, my poor reputation anyway, but I stake it that this is nailed on to be a very, very good fight. Ben, help me out here.
It's huge. Look, they know each other well. There's a lot of respect there, but equally there's a big rivalry. Chris will want to get that one loss off his record and move on to unification. Richard's chance and best chance, and probably the best chance he'll ever get to become a world champion. There's a huge amount on the line on Saturday night for both guys, a life-changing amount on the line. And doors will open, as I say, 4:30, over 15,000 already in there. Anyone in London who wants to witness a 50-50 spectacle and a great advert for the sport, we'll see you down on Saturday. Thank you to the fighters, thank you to Sky Sports, and thank you to Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I just actually want to follow up on that. What a great advert for British boxing the two of you are. The way you carry yourselves and two great role models. May the best man win on the night. Just to echo what Ben said, there's the Kiss FM takeover, the fan zone with the Euros, and some big name live performers still to be announced, and approximate 10 p.m. main event, so it's a nice early one for everyone at home as well. We're going to break now for the final face-off. Everybody stay in their seats so you can get a clean shot, and both fighters will be available for one-on-ones. 6:30 Sky Sports action. Make sure you join us then.
Well, Andy, everyone played pretty nicely up there today.
I think he probably feels like he's done that. He's kind of sown those seeds, said what he's
You get that vibe, don't you?
wanted to say.
Yeah.
You do, and I don't think it's really got much of a reaction from Chris, and I think he has seen that and decided not to really waste his time, because investing too much emotional energy in that kind of thing can be counterproductive if you let it. We're at that place now where they're both just ready to get in there.
Both ready, both confident. Richard even more so. I mean, he does seem extremely confident with what's at hand, the task in front of him?
Yeah, well, look, he's the challenger. He's the one who got the win the first time round. I think they have both improved since their first fight, as CBS said.
Even though that was 5 years ago, do you think that gives him a slight psychological edge?
The win, minor. I think they both. I think he knows that they're both very different fighters. I think what probably gives him more of a confidence boost is the fact that he knows he's the fresher of the two. Billam-Smith has had to go to the well a few times in those fights, and whatever way you look at it, it is miles on the clock. Now, look, it might be you could turn it to a positive and say, yeah, well, I've been there, I've had the experience, I've had the necessary seasoning that you haven't had because you've won fights easily, so therefore you haven't had to go to places I've been to, so you don't know that you can go there. But Riakporhe in his own mind will be confident that he can go there, and he will see that the fact that he hasn't had to go there means that he's the fresher of the two, and it gets grueling. That could count.
Johnny, hello. Do you know what? I just said this to our producer James. I said, that tracksuit that Riakporhe's got on, I need that in my life. It's a bit of me, that. It's very cool. What do you make of their sort of demeanour, their personas at the moment? Both very chilled, ready for fight night.
He's going to right the wrong. He's going to make the most of his development as a fighter. And for Richard, I've done it before, I'm going to do it again. That's what he's doing, that's what he's thinking. There's a cockiness about him, but we will not know until that first bell goes. It's so evenly matched. These guys have developed so much. The only thing is, Chris has had more consistency in his career.
I like that. Chris killing him with kindness, the smile on his face.
There's no bad blood between these boys. These boys want to get on with their professional business, and Richard's trying to play with him, trying to smile and make him look so relaxed. But there's a lot on the line for these guys, for both of them.
Who do you think, Andy, the pressure is on more? I mean, Chris is obviously making another defence of his world title. He's away from home. Richard, this is a massive opportunity for him. He's waited a long time for this. Who do you think the pressure is on more?
I think the pressure in this one is more on the challenger. I think when you're the champion, you've got that achievement behind you, and it's a massive thing. And obviously, you want to hold on to that belt for as long as you possibly can, but you've already done it, and it's in the bank, if you like. Whereas I think for the challenger, I think for Richard, I think there is more pressure on him, basically because he's boxing at Crystal Palace. He said quite a lot in the build-up, and now he has to deliver on it, quite simply.
Chris, really lovely to see you again, looking dapper as always, the gentleman. Pretty respectful between the two of you up there, and you both seem like you're just ready to go now.
Yeah, that's how I feel. It's easier being out of Bournemouth, I think, for me. I just get to focus on the fight. Obviously, there's always media to do and stuff like that, and that's fine, but it's very much more simple for me. Just get to focus on the fight, and we're very close now.
I just asked Andy who the pressure was on more. How much pressure are you feeling at this stage?
Yeah, I mean, there's always pressure, but the pressure only ever comes from me and the gym I'm in. You know, that there's a pressure being in that gym every day. You have to perform. So I've had seven years of that, and it's been an amazing journey, and love it. And you get so used to it, and for me, I've always thrived off it. Having that expectation lumped on you from the standard that's set. So yeah, I've always enjoyed that. So. There's always that pressure. Obviously, less pressure with it, maybe not being at home and stuff like that. But I've got dreams and goals I want to do before this. There's other pressures, you know, the family and stuff like that. So yeah, it's but like I said, that's all good.
Talk to us a little bit about that, about it not being at home. I mean, the last few fights we've seen you either at the BIC in Bournemouth or at the Vitality Stadium, which was an absolutely epic night. How are you feeling about fighting away from home? Obviously, it's Richard's pretty much in his backyard.
Yeah, no, it gives me more motivation. It's nice because I've been so lucky to have 4 fights back home where the fans have been phenomenal. The occasions,
feed off the crowd. You love it.
Absolutely. But it's nice having that feeling in this camp where it's it's almost got a little bit too comfortable back home in the sense of like, I'm fighting at home again, main event, blah, blah, blah. So it's nice to really give me more motivation and have that sort of siege mentality to come in someone else's backyard, and it makes you feel like the challenger. So and that's how camp's felt, and how I've been training like.
And we very much enjoyed the little dressing room row that you two have had this week, or how real that was, I don't know, but we quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there was a row. I think, you know, my Shane and Jake do the management side of things, and champions right, so they get to choose the changing room. So that was that. It was that's as much say. I had no say in it. It was all them. So all good.
We've all been like, why not? Why not? Why wouldn't you? In terms of the fight itself, what are you expecting from Richard? How do you think he'll start? What do you think he'll do?
I don't know. He might. It depends how he deals with the occasion. He might be calm and calculated like he normally is, or it might just spur him on. He might try and go for it early. Who knows? But we're prepared for everything, and I just feel ready for anything. And that's how I've really felt this camp. I'm ready for every version of Richard. When he turns on the gas and whatnot, look, I just got to go focus and be me, and that's all that matters.
Johnny, what are you looking to see from Chris on Saturday?
I think both fighters have got to draw first blood, stamp their authority from the off. There's no seesaw about either of them when you see them in the press conference. Both fighters believe they have the ability to get it done. It's a case of who can dent their impression on the other. It's so even, it's ridiculous.
It is even, and every time we're talking to someone that comes up, even Isaac Chamberlain, he's like, one day he's saying Chris, one day he's saying Richard. It's a real 50-50 fight. We're very much looking forward to it. How prepared is this man?
Oh, listen, he's a veteran now. He's 33. I was just thinking, every single fight since he lost that first fight has been a championship fight since. So he's perfected how to do 12 rounds. He's perfected how to go through a camp, unscathed. Have bad days, have good days, and not take too much from either of those things. And that everything in that first fight, he was around world champions in George Groves, Carl Frampton, Josh Taylor in the gym, people like that. But it's experiencing it for the first time, knowing yourself, going through a camp, knowing what you're doing is right or is wrong. So that was all a guessing game from the first time. He's a completely different beast, mentally, physically. He's in a good place.
Because you've been with him that whole time, and you've seen the leaps and bounds and the improvements that we've made. We talked at the top of the show of who has made more improvements over that time, but you yourself have seen it firsthand.
Yeah, listen, it's not to discredit Richard Riakporhe. He's made a lot of improvements. He's technically got better. He has great power, great ability. He's got it all, but it's taken until he's 34 years of age to grasp a world title fight. It's not like he hasn't had the opportunity before then. He's been waiting for the stars to align and this perfect night to happen. And I genuinely believe that is going to be his downfall on Saturday night. It's just, he's a perfectionist, and you can't be a perfectionist with a guy like that in front of you.
Chris, how much do you think the fact that you've been the more active fighter out of the two will all play into your favour?
Yeah, and it's not necessarily just the activity, it's the type of fights I've had. Obviously, I mean, he's only had 4 minutes in the last 16 months, so that's a massive works in my favour massively. But the experience as a whole is huge. I think all the fights I've had, what I've had to go through in those fights, and gradually built it up. The experiences of fighting at home in front of a home crowd, headlining on Sky Sports, in a stadium already, all that is just, I feel very calm and confident knowing that I've got all that experience to use. And like Johnny said, you can't buy that experience, you can't fake it, you can only do it by going through it, and he hasn't had that.
Shane, I've got one for you.
Yeah.
Where do you think this, it's come from Riakporhe, but this narrative that he's tried to build up, some people tended to have bought into, that Chris is on the decline, that he takes too many punches, that he fights with his face essentially. I mean, where do you think that has come from? Because it's
face?
Well, no.
We've seen lots of fighters in the past.
Have you found that whole thing a bit insulting? Have you found that a bit insulting?
I mean, listen, it's a narrative that he's trying to spin. He's a guy that doesn't like to get hit. Chris is happy to take a shot to land his own. He's happy to take two sometimes to land his own. But he knows what he has to do to get the result, whereas Riakporhe is quite happy to sit back, watch the pace of every fight. It's all slow. He's managed his career with the right opponents
in his favour well. But once he gets unsettled, the two people that fought at pace unsettled him, which is Jack Massey and Chris Billam-Smith. And we've now got 12 rounds, not 10 rounds. He's now got the experience. He's punching harder. He's got the belief within himself. Those are these things. Like Richard Riakporhe is just trying to clutch at straws, really. He's just looking at that, and maybe the fact that he's got cut a few times in his fights, but also let's just take into consideration Lawrence Okoli thought he was going to walk through Chris Billam-Smith. Chris had one of his worst performances just before he boxed Lawrence Okoli. He come out and had his best performance straight afterwards. He didn't have a very good fight against Mastinate, a guy that's 37 or 38 years of age, had nearly 50 fights, had over a handful of losses. It's easy to take your eye off the ball when you go from 15,000 back into a 3,000 arena. He's now going back into the Lion's Den. He's got the he's got the challenger's mentality, even though he's a champion, and he's going in there to prove a point because he spent his whole career proving a point. People didn't even think he was going to get to British level. Now he's a world champion, about to make his second defence against a guy that's already beaten him. This guy's going to be the guy that comes through.
Before we let you go, Richard's waiting in the wings. What happens on Saturday, Chris?
I genuinely believe I get rid of him inside the distance. I think he's in for a big shock.
All right, well, we'll leave it there. Best of luck. We'll see you tomorrow at the weigh-in. Thank you, Shane, as well. Good to see you. Good to see you. See you later. All right, so Shane's going to make his way out. Chris has made his way out, and in comes Richard Riakporhe. Richard, keep hold of your tracksuit because Johnny's eyeing it up. I'm eyeing it up. I quite like it. You're looking very good. How are you feeling ahead of Saturday? You seem pretty relaxed and enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm feeling good, feeling really good. You know, the hard work is done. Now it's time to just enjoy the moment, you know. A lot of people don't get these type of opportunities.
Talk to us about that hard work, because when you were in studio with us for the Fury Usyk fight, you said how hard your camp has been, how hard you've been working. What have you been working on?
I went through hell, man. But you know what? What I've experienced in life is hard work pays off, and hard work can't be beaten, which is why I'm laughing and joking and I'm smiling, because I know the outcome. I'm winning. I'm going to be the world champion on Saturday.
In terms of, we've asked Chris, we've asked Andy, the pressure situation. This is your home football club, headlining a show. Are you feeling any pressure at all?
Yeah, there's always pressure, and I put more pressure on myself. That's what a lot of people don't understand. You know, people talk, and when you win, some people will say, oh, it wasn't all that. Everybody has something to say, and it's all about just putting the doubts to sleep, you know, putting them to bed to make sure that they have nothing to talk about. So every single time I always put pressure on myself to make sure that my victory is unquestionable.
In terms of your activity, we haven't seen as much of you as you'd like and as we'd like to see you in the ring. Is that a concern for you, or are you feeling fresher?
Well, they said the same thing before my last fight. You know, Rigoni, someone that supposed to take me around, take me some rounds. But I think prior to that, I think I was out for like 11 months or something. I don't know. But look, I dispatched of him in a couple rounds, and my timing was pretty good. You know what I mean? My timing, I think it's more the timing of your punch and stuff like that, making sure that you're on point in that aspect. But it is what it is. I've seen a lot of fighters that are laid off for a long time but still come and perform. I think it's more of a mental thing, if anything. And if you're in the gym regularly, that's definitely going to help for sure. But I think like I'm naturally fast. I'm in my prime. I'm good.
We've seen you fight in a lot of arenas. We've seen you fight all over. In terms of fighting at a stadium, the crowd. I mean, you're a regular at Crystal Palace. You know it well. But how is it going to feel? Do you think? How different will it feel?
Yeah, I think it's going to feel good. I think it's going to feel good to have the fans there. It's something that I dreamed of when I was younger. I wanted to be able to put on a show in front of loads of people. So I feel like it's going to give me some extra momentum. That's a good word to use, momentum, because I have fans that are actually coming to back me, and that's different. That's different. I remember me trying to get on these platforms, and I had to go to Manchester to fight Sam Hyde in his back garden. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different feel. All the odds are stacked up against you, but still coming through each and every single time. So yeah, like for me, it's just another day, and I see it as noise. Sometimes it's just noise. Block the noise out, enjoy it, and then
I'll relive the moment after everything is done. I'll be like, wow, that was crazy.
You reflect on it. Have you sorted the weather out as well? Have you booked the sunshine?
Well, if it's sunny, that's good. But if it's raining, it's gonna pour.
Great. Looking forward to it. Johnny, what would your advice be to Richard headlining on Saturday?
Enjoy the moment. All the work you've been an honest pro all the way through. Don't make inactivity of your career be an excuse for your performance. Make sure it's a time when he's learned, sharpen his tools, become a better fighter, smarter fighter. He's done it once, so you know it can be done again. It's not an impossible task. But you're both 5 years older now, 5 years smarter. So I think this is going to be, leave your heart and soul in there, and this will be one of those memories that you will never ever let go of.
Before we let you go, because I'm sure you've got plenty of media commitments to go to, same question I asked Chris, what happens on Saturday?
KO, that's all I go for. That's what the fans want to see, and that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, well, best
but
of luck, Richard.
if you could pick a way to win, would you rather win by early knockout, or would you rather win that fight where you have to go deep into it? It's a dogfight in the second half. It's an absolute classic. You go to hell and back and get a late stoppage. Which one would you choose if you could pick?
If I could pick, I would say a bit of both. So not too long, but yeah, just
a happy medium.
But yeah, just a middle ground. I would say a middle ground, because it's good, because it's the experience as well that I'm trying to get, where I'm trying to go to. There's a lot of killers out here, so we have to make sure that we're prepared for them. So I actually need this. I'm not trying to bang him out in one round, but if I do see an opportunity, I will.
There you go. All right, good to see you, Richard. See you tomorrow at the weigh-in. We'll let Richard go because this stage is getting rather cosy, and I'm about to fall off the edge, which we don't want to see. Ben, come join in the fun. Quite the night set up for Saturday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, I mentioned up there 2 guys that we know very well. It's amazing to see them at world level. I want both guys to win. It's hard. Chris has had such a great journey with us. I'd like to see him remain world champion. At the same time, Richard's never going to get a better chance, and it's something he's worked towards, he's been patient with. I feel he'll feel very, very ready for this. They're both looking confident. 4 weeks ago I was convinced of who was going to win, and I've turned up this week and I've actually gone the other way. I'm not going to say which way, but it's that type of fight.
You and everyone else that is coming up here today, everyone's swinging in various different ways of who they think is going to win.
I think, to be fair, I think Richard looks really relaxed, but equally Chris looks the best I've seen him since I promoted him this week. 100% looks better than he looked against Lawrence Okoli. He had a tough fight week. He's gonna be ready. So yeah, 50-50 fight.
And we're expecting a pretty packed stadium as well. The atmosphere should be pretty pumping in there as well.
Yeah, I think over 15,000 already, which is incredible. 4 of the best cruiserweights in the country in 50-50 fights. Ben Whittaker, who's obviously a spectacle that everyone wants to see, but entertainment from 4:30. There's not often you get to do this as a promoter, an outdoor event at a football stadium, a domestic world title as well, and looking forward to a great night on Saturday.
Well, so are we, and that is it pretty much here done for the press conference. Before we go though, I mean, we've still got one day to go, but at this stage, who would you go for?
This is more even than what you'd say. I think the one who I'd put down as a favourite is Chris. I put Chris down as a favourite because he's proved that he can do it, he can dig deep. I've seen the growth of Richard coming through. I know what he's capable of doing. We just got to see if he can do it on the night. If he can do it on the night, that punch power that he's got, if he can dig as deep as Chris did, then I'd go with Chris. But right now, you've got to go with the favourite thing, Chris Billam-Smith. If this go the distance, I say it's because Chris is one on points.
Interesting to see if that changes tomorrow. Matt, who you go with?
It's so tough. You can weigh it up. Riakporhe he's not as proven as Chris, but yeah, he's beaten him, and he has improved as well. He just hasn't had the fights, the opponents to show it. I think probably Riakporhe, gun to my head.
You're exempt from this, Andy.
I think it's going deep, and someone's getting stopped. But I'm not going to say who. I think it's going to be a great fight. Genuinely, I think it's going to be a great fight. I think Riakporhe will get taken into the second half, and big questions will be asked about his stamina and his gas tank and all of those things that Billam-Smith has proved. And it's going to be painful, and it's going to be hard, it's going to be all the things we want, and someone's getting stopped. I just don't know which one.
And if that hasn't sold it to you, I don't know what will. Make sure you join us tomorrow for the weigh-in, and thank you, chaps, for your company today. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. But don't forget, Sky Sports Action on Saturday night, 6:30 p.m. We'll see you there.